My name is Godfrey. I work for North Power. I'm actually the local manager here covering Paulding County. But I'm also the chairman for the Paulding Chamber of Commerce Governmental Affairs Committee. First off, I'd like to thank Chattahoochee Tech for allowing us to use this auditorium, and we're truly appreciative of that. And I'd like to thank each of you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come up here, because the issues we're going to be talking about, the candidates that we're going to be entertaining tonight, is very important to your community. And so your support and your questions are definitely important to this community as well. And with that, I will not be moderating tonight. Y'all are lucky for that. But Terry Lawler will be. And I'm going to give you a little bit of information about Terry and who he represents. And Terry is the Executive Director for the Regional Business Coalition of Metro Atlanta. And if you're like me, what does that mean? What is the RBC? You hear the term. So I tell you, I typically don't like to read notes, but I'm going to read a little bit so that you get an in-depth understanding of what Terry represents. The Regional Business Coalition of Metro Atlanta is an organization of over a dozen of the largest and most active chambers of commerce throughout the Metro Atlanta region. An RBC member chambers represents over 15,000 member companies who employ millions of Metro Atlanta residents. The RBC's primary goal is to represent the interests of the RBC Chamber members on regional public policy issues that impact our transportation, water, and air quality, and to advocate for solutions to improve the Metro Atlanta's quality of life and economic vitality. And with that, I will turn this over to Terry Lawler, who will be our moderator for today. Thank you.
Thank you again, and welcome tonight for those of y'all who did come out. Hopefully you're going to hear some things and help some of y'all make some decisions on how we're going to be voting the upcoming primary elections. Before I get started though, I think it's really important that we need to thank our candidates. It takes a lot of time and effort for any of these folks to run for elected office. Those of you who have served before know that. But to come out to meetings like this, the teas in the communities, standing out along the roadside, waving signs, doing all the things that candidates have to do to hold themselves out for public office, and then sometimes subject themselves to some strong disagreements from some of their constituents or potential constituents. It takes a lot, and I really think we should all thank the candidates, whether you're for or against them, but thank them for at least offering themselves for public service. We have to be very thankful for that. Some rules of engagement, as I mentioned to Senator Dugan. Questions will be put forward tonight have been carefully compiled to address the most important issues of the business community relating to the overall well-being and future of Paulding County. As we do those tonight, these questions have all been set right here, and the candidates will actually pick out those questions. There will not be any questions from the floor tonight. There will only be the predetermined ones here. The questions will be randomly selected and will be asked of the candidate at bat without deference, bias, or foreknowledge. Timekeepers are in the front row, and they will signal the amount of time that will be left. There will be no interruptions from the audience. If you interrupt somebody and you're in support of them, you'll be taking away their time. If you interrupt somebody that you're opposed to by making other comments, you'll be not taking up their time. They'll be given additional time to make their point. Again, at the end of the day, we are asking you, please, no interruptions from the audience. Let the candidates answer the questions uninterrupted. The Paulding Chamber of Commerce does not in any way endorse or support any candidates over any others. However, the Chamber does and will take a position on any issue that affects the common good of its members, the community that it serves, and or the overall mission of the Chamber. This is the order that will be going tonight for the questions. The first group that will be up will be the candidates for state senator, followed by the candidates for the House District 17, followed by the candidates for county commission. And I'll ask them up shortly. But when they come up, they will be each asked to give a 2-minute opening statement. Then there will be a 2-minute question that will be proposed. Opponents will get 1 minute to respond, and then there will be 1 minute for the candidate to rebut that response, and then each candidate will be given 1 minute as a closing statement. And again, there will be, if I remember correctly, I think there are 2 questions for the House and 2 questions for the Senate, but we'll get to those when we get there. First of all, I would like to invite the candidates for State Senate to come to the podium. And this is for Senate District 30. The candidates are Senator Mike Dugan and Mr. Bill Hembree. And I'll ask each of you, and we'll start with Senator Dugan, to make a 2-minute self-introduction. Let me point out, these 2 young ladies right down here are the timekeepers, and they will show the card of how much time you have. And when you get to stop, show them the stop sign, the red one. I will stop you. You both have done this before. This is nothing new to both of you, so you're very well. But these young ladies will help out there. With that, Senator, would you like to go first, please?
Sure. I'm Mike Dugan. Yeah, you gave all the rules except for that part right there.
I didn't know that.
Okay, I'm Mike Dugan. I'm the senator for the 30th district. I'm proud to be able to serve y'all, the southern part of Paulding, the western part of Douglas, and almost all of Carroll. I want to start off, even though I just got the name from the get-go, thank the chamber for putting this together tonight. And it's important that we hold events like this and you get a chance to see all of this and listen to what we're standing for here. Now, most of y'all know I'm the guy from Bowden. Graduated from Bowden High School, graduated from West Georgia, and then went into the Army. My wife and I raised 2 great kids, retired from the Army, moved back home. And we moved back home because this is the best part of the world that we've ever been to. We said, and we've seen a lot of it. We said we want to raise our kids there. Since I've been elected to the state senate, the committees I'm on, I'm the vice chairman of government oversight. I'm the secretary of Veterans and Military Affairs and Homeland Security. I'm on economic development and transportation. I'm also ex officio on agriculture, education and youth, judiciary, and judiciary non-civil. So a lot of responsibility that has been provided me in the Senate, and I'm proud that the leadership in the Senate has looked at me and said, you can have the responsibility. So I look forward to spending time with y'all tonight. I look forward to answering the questions that we get up here. I'm kind of curious as to what they're going to be. I know that we know as little about them as y'all do with the audience. Y'all may know more about what the questions are going to be. But thank y'all for letting us join y'all here tonight.
Mr. Hembree, you have 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. That's okay, now I can begin. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. My name is Bill Hembree. I would like to be your state senator. A little bit about myself. I was born in Villarica. I currently live in Winston and have a beautiful family. I have 2 of my sons here tonight, big supporters, and I'm married to my high school sweetheart. But I started with very humble beginnings. My dad died when I was 3 years old. My mom worked 2 jobs for 18 years to raise 5 kids. And I was one of the 5, the only member of my family to graduate from college with scholarships. So it was very tough, and I understand the importance of hard work. My mother instilled that in me and said, hey, look, if you get a good education, and you work hard, and you give back to your community, things will be good for you in life. And so that's what I've tried to do. And I've tried to raise my sons and in that way. But I'm glad that the chamber has hosted this tonight because I'm a small business owner, and I have been for over 14 years. And I understand the difficulties of being a small business owner. I employ 5 people, and so that's so important in this day and time to make sure we have jobs. And that's what this election is all about. It's about the future, it's about jobs, and making a difference in our communities. I mean, we live in a great state, but we can do better, and I want to be there for you. As a small business owner, as a person who's from this area, who believes in West Georgia, and most of all, believe in you. Because this election is about the people, and putting the people back in control of their government. And so that's why I want to be your senator, because I'll be a voice for all of the people, so that we can make the changes and bring the people back in control of the government. Thank you.
Thank you. Before the meeting, each of the candidates drew their name out of a hat to decide who would go first and who would go second. So in the order, that's where we started off with Senator Dugan being first and Mr. Hughes was second. So we'll do the same thing here for drawing the questions. So there we go. Senator, if you would draw a question. The first question I'm going to ask is not actually on here, but are you a member of the Paulding Chamber of Commerce?
Yes.
Thank you. Here's the question. Again, you have 1 minute to answer the question. Mr. Hembree has 1 minute to respond to that, and then you have 1 minute if you choose to rebut Mr. Hembree's comment. Okay, I'm sorry, 2 minutes. I'm sorry. 2 minutes to answer the question.
See if I listen to you.
That's right. Here's the question. There has been considerable debate about the Common Core education policy adopted by the state of Georgia. Do you support Common Core, something similar to Common Core, or do you believe that Georgia should focus on adopting our own standards and not try to adopt education standards consistent with other states? Please explain your position.
That's easy enough for me. I don't support Common Core. And I feel sorry for the teachers out there that feel like they got to go through a change in the curriculum and style every 3 years. I feel for that. It's not the federal government's responsibility to educate our youth. It's the state's responsibility to educate our youth. And, anytime that you get a federal government agency involved in any aspect of our life, then it starts encroaching. It gets a little worse, a little worse, a little worse. That's not their job. They don't know our kids as well as we know our kids. There's no need for a program that has, and I understand that there's a side of this to say, well, that Georgia had a governor that sat on the process to develop Common Core. It's not the same thing now. Now, am I for a standard? We know that a kid at the end of the 3rd grade ought to have this level of knowledge. A kid in the 5th grade ought to have this level of knowledge. If you're talking about standards, that's different. If you're talking about establishing a curriculum, that's our job. That's why we hire a superintendent. That's why we hire superintendents across the state. That's why we have a state superintendent of schools. It's each of our own community's responsibilities to train, educate our youth. Now, there's going to be some things that come up on this a little bit that there's more than one way to educate our youth. You got the traditional schools, you got homeschool, you got private schools. A little bit more emphasis in the career academies would not be a bad thing either. We got a workforce requirements that are coming up for the next 2 generations that we need skilled labor, skilled trained workforce to meet those needs. Most kids do well in a traditional environment, but there are kids that learn better. They're not any less intelligent. They just learn better with working with their hands. They learn better with a hands-on approach. And we ought to develop those skill sets in them. I'm getting the 15 seconds here. So that we are building them a better future and building our state a better future. So the short answer is no, I don't support Common Core.
Mr. Hembree, you have 1 minute to respond.
Thank you. I do not support Common Core either. Education is about the future. My sons are in the 7th grade, and I talk with them and work with them every day, and we talk about the classroom. And that is the foundation of where we should focus our education, is in the classroom with the teachers. I have family members and friends who are teachers, and they struggle every day with the level of paperwork and bureaucracy, and they're taking away the time that they could be spending with the students in the classrooms. That is the focus that we must work with every day. And so, as a senator, I will do everything I can to put the efforts and focus on the classroom, the teacher, and the students, away from the bureaucracy. Washington doesn't understand what goes on in the state of Georgia, and they are not the ones who should be setting the standards. And even the governors who are proposing the changes for Common Core, they too are missing what's happening in the classrooms. We should focus on the students. That's the future of this great state. That's the future of this county. And until we can give them the proper education by engaging with the teachers, then we're missing out. So I say to you, I will always, as your senator, fight to make sure that education stays in the right place. And that's with the family. That's with the family, and that's with the teachers. And that's where we're going to focus our future, because that's the future of the state of Georgia.
Thank you, Mr. Hembree. You have 1 minute if you wish to rebut, sir.
I'm thankful my opponent agrees with my position. I think you're going to find that pretty common across the state of Georgia, that we don't, as a conservative state, we don't support Common Core. Now, there was a lot of discussion about the 167 when it came through, and it came through the Senate without a problem. It hit the House, and based off an editorial, and I'm sorry, I noticed that we got a good friend from the AJC here in the audience. Based off an editorial from the AJC, it reopened a can of worms, and there were some inaccuracies in the editorial that prevented us from taking the proper steps this session to letting us stand on our own 2 feet, be responsible for our children the way we ought to be responsible for our children. So, I don't know what else you could say about Common Core other than I think it's a really bad move.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Hembree, you get to draw the next question, the last question.
There's only one left, so I guess.
Hard job, very difficult jobs. Okay, Mr. Hembree, you will answer this question first. You'll get 2 minutes. The Senator will get 1 minute to respond to rebuttal, and you have another minute to rebut that if you so choose. This legislative year, there were a number of social issues that received considerable attention from the legislature. One was the freedom of religion legislation that did not pass, but is expected to be reintroduced next year. There seems to be differing viewpoints on what the freedom of religion legislation was attempting to accomplish. If you believe there needs to be similar legislation adopted, what do you believe it should look like? If you do not believe similar legislation is necessary, why not? And you have 2 minutes.
Well, I believe the foundation of this country is based on our religious beliefs, our Judeo-Christian beliefs, and that's the foundation of who we are. Free men, women, and children with faith in God and the self-determination to achieve a happy, healthy, and prosperous life. That's the foundation of who we are, and we cannot turn our backs on that. And our culture and our society has often done that, and we must stand up for the principles. I was the one who carried was the House author of the marriage amendment in 2004, which defined marriage in Georgia as a constitutional amendment between a man and a woman, because that is a foundation and a principle that we should all stand for and fight for. So I have a history serving as 18 years in the General Assembly, fighting for these issues, fighting for the family, fighting for our religious freedoms, fighting for the foundation of who we are. I've been there. I've fought those fights. Even as a minority, I'm a Republican. I'm a proud Republican. For 10 years, I was in the minority, and I was hit every day by the Democrats wanting to push us this way, push us that way. We stood up. I stood up and fought for the principles that we stand by, for the family, for the individuals, and for the rights of the people. And that's what I'll do as your state senator. I'll fight for you every day on the foundation and the principles that we were created by, and that's the Constitution. We can never forget what our Constitution says, and we cannot change it, because the Founding Fathers believed that this document was the greatest document, and it has been in the history of mankind. And we, as a General Assembly or as any government official, should not try to change that. Stand by the Constitution, stand by the principles that it upholds to, and we will always prosper. And as your state senator, I can tell you that I will fight for you every day on those religious issues and those issues that face the family, and I will be there for you.
Thank you. 1 minute.
Thank you. As you know, most of y'all heard the Merry Christmas bill that came into, we tried to go through the legislation this time, made it the last day, and there's something tagged to it within about the 30th hour. So unfortunately, that didn't make it out this time. But the whole premise behind that was to bring back the concept that it's okay to acknowledge that we are a faith-based society. Now, we may not all believe exactly the same thing, but we shouldn't pretend that it doesn't exist. We shouldn't pretend that holidays like Christmas are not there. They're there. We know it since before Thanksgiving that Christmas is gone. So it's out there. It's silly that we got to pretend that we're not a faith-based society. Embrace it, acknowledge it, and even learn a little bit from others. Now, the question specifically is, should your rights outweigh mine? And I think the answer is no. I think that if I'm a private owner of a shop,
Time, I'm sorry.
got it, thank you.
Mr. Hembree, you will make a response to that.
Well, and again, we just have to stand up for the principles that the country was founded on. As religious principles, the foundation of our country is based on that. So we have to stand up and fight, folks. The culture that we live in today is trying to turn us in different directions that we don't need to go. We do not need to go in those directions. So we need to stand up and fight. And if you're willing to stand up and fight with me, then I would love to have you as part of my team. Because I will fight for you every day as your senator. Because we cannot lose this country. This country is greater than anything we know. And as citizens, as private citizens, we will stand up and fight. We can't give in, folks. We cannot lose this battle. We're at a turning point, and I just ask for your support so we can do this together.
Okay, each candidate will now have 1 minute to make a closing statement, and we've reversed the order. But I do have one question that I asked the senator, I didn't ask you, Mr. Hembree. Are you a member of the Paulding Chamber of Commerce?
I have not. I've been a member of the Chamber of Commerce for a long time, but I'm not a member of the Paulding Chamber.
Thank you.
But it is a good program, and if you'd like to sign up after the program's over, as a membership, is it $50 or $100?
That will be yelling for the audience. I told them not to say anything.
We got a thumbs up back there, so I think I'll be able to write a check.
So what we'll be asking each of you to do is to make a 1 minute closing comment, and Mr. Hembree, we'll start with you. You have 1 minute, and the young ladies will show you down.
As I said before, this election is about the future. It's about the future of Paulding County. It's about the future of the state of Georgia. It's about the future of our country. And we just need people who understand the same ideas that we have at Hughes, the foundations that we believe in. And we need somebody there fighting for us every day. Someone who works hard as a small business owner. Someone who works as a member of the Chamber of Commerce to make sure that we create jobs, that we create incentives for small businesses. But that's the backbone of the country, is a small business. And I know that as a small business owner, and I will do everything I can to stop taxes, to cut government regulation, to free the private sector, and you know what? To trust the people. Because the people know what's best. And I say to you today, give me the honor and privilege to serve as your senator. I will serve you well. Thank you.
So you have 1 minute.
Thank you. It is an honor to serve as your senator. For the last 2 years, I've enjoyed every minute of it, worked my tail off, and I hope that the results of that is I get reelected. Now, part of what have I been doing for 2 years? How about capping the state income tax? How about capping the sales tax? How about eliminating the death tax? How about working for Hope grants for the technical college system of Georgia? So we've raised the zoning order grants within the technical college system, so institutions like this can attract and retain students that then go into our workforce. That's what I've been doing. And oh, by the way, I've actually been staying in contact with the constituency. Over 20 town halls, over 30 church visits. Anytime there's a gathering of more than 5, it seems like, and somebody invites me, I'm there. So he's right. It is an honor to serve as your senator, and I ask you Monday, let me continue.
Let's give both these gentlemen a round of applause. The next set of candidates who will be up tonight is for the Georgia House of Representatives District 17. Will Representative Howard Maxwell and Mr. David Bond please come to the stage. Thank you, gentlemen. I'll go over the rules again. As you probably heard before, we'll be asking each of you to make a 2-minute opening introduction statement, and then we have 2 questions that you will pull from the hat that you have not seen before. We'll ask them to have an opportunity to rebut, and then a 1-minute closing comment. Again, before the meeting got started, they drew out of a hat, and Representative Maxwell will be the first to go. He'll make the first opening statement. He'll also be then before the final. We'll flip it with Mr. Bond and making the first closing statement. So, Representative Maxwell, you have 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Thank you, Terry. Thanks to the chamber for putting this on tonight. My name is Howard Maxwell. I've been in Paulding County since 1958. We moved back here. My dad got a job at the Dallas Elementary School as a janitor. I went to work in the 3rd grade, 10-year-old. I had a section of that school I had to clean every afternoon. I've been working the rest of my life. Met my wife in Paulding County. Everybody worked at Paulding County High School in 1967. Met my wife, married in 1969. The only thing we had when we got started was she had a 63 Ford Fairlane. I think I had a 63 Mercury Comet. and they were both had to be paid for at that time. Lord blessed us down through the years. I hitchhiked home, got married in June of '69. The Army got engaged March the 1st, drafted March the 15th. Hitchhiked home, got married, got to Vietnam in September. First letter was Dear Daddy. She was expecting. Got back to Vietnam with a 6-month-old child. I used my BA this, finished college. Worked along there, got some good jobs. The Lord's blessed us. Got 2 fine kids, got grandkids in Paulding County schools. Served on the school board since in 1988. I got elected to the school board, served there 13.5 years. Ran for legislature in 2002. I've been proud to serve as your representative for the last 12 years. Paulding County's been good to me, and I want to serve Paulding County. My kids, I've got grandkids in Paulding County schools now. I want the best for them. I would like to see them graduate in another few years and find good jobs in Paulding County, not have to be like 76% of our citizens and drive somewhere else to find a job. And I'll give you a second or two now.
Thank you.
I saw the sign.
Mr. Bond, you have 2 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is David Bond. I've lived in Paulding County 3 years. My wife, who lives here, she's been here 14. She tells me I'm a damn Yankee because I came from the north and never went back. I was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I lived in Topeka, Kansas for junior high and high school years. However, I graduated from high school in Louisville, Kentucky. Did my undergrad at Ohio State. And my parents lived in Kennesaw, Georgia. My father said, live with them until I got a job. Got a job 3 weeks later in Kennesaw, Georgia. And I've been here for the last 25 years. I've lived in the Atlanta area, and I've been in the medical business pretty much my entire career. In marketing and product management, working such huge, enormous companies as United Health and Novartis. I originally got married 3 years ago, as I said. I became a first-time father at age 46. Some of you see my 2-year-old running around. So this is new to me, being a parent. But it also tells how important what we're doing is here at Paulding and the state of Georgia for the future of our children. They're going to be here long after we're gone. Part of the reason I'm running is I firmly believe, as what Teddy Roosevelt's mantra was, being a steward of the people, and I think that should be effectively factored in as a state representative, and that's why I'm running. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The first question will be drawn by Representative Maxwell. All right, my first question to you, are you a member of the Paulding Chamber of Commerce?
I have been for a very long time. Been in business since this is my 30th year. And I think I probably were out of time, I'm not sure.
Okay. Here's the question. Georgia has one of the lowest rates per capita nationally for investing in transportation infrastructure. How would you get the needed funds to maintain and improve transportation in the 17th district?
That is a very tough question. We talked about that transportation at the Chamber Tuesday. Transportation dollars in Georgia pretty much follows the sales tax, gasoline sales tax. That's where most of our dollars come from. Of course, we see the prices of gas go up lately. That has to be distributed statewide, not just coming in Paulding County. The funds, just not enough to go around to produce the jobs we need, for the roads we need in the different counties to get people around. Now, we changed, 3 or 4 years ago, we changed the federal tax allocation. It used to be the 13 congressional districts, each got an equal split of the federal tax dollars that come down. Of course, people down in South Georgia, the areas where they're not as congested, they don't get as much money as the areas around 285, Metro Atlanta, and all that. We changed the split several years ago based on population or where the needs were going to be, instead of just sending it out on the per capita or dividing the funds by the 13 congressional districts. It'll all be how much we want to pay. How much we want to pay to provide transportation. How much more taxes, or if there's more taxes we want to try to put into it. I think we need to grow jobs around here. I told you that the other day. We need to find way to grow jobs and try not to build some new roads. We've got to work on 285. We've got to work on the interchange down at Fulton Industrial. You can't get to Atlanta. Once I get through that break at Fulton and 285, not doing interchange down there, I thank God I'm home 3 trying to get to Atlanta. It's going to be a tough answer. It's going to cost us money. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll bet.
Mr. Bond, do we question again, or?
I understand it.
Okay, one minute.
I agree with Representative Maxwell. One of the things you look at here in Paulding County is we have 44 subdivisions with incomplete roads or rundown roads. I think there's 62 miles of roads that also need to be fixed. Well, this will cost Paulding County alone $4 million. And when we have such our economy's not done that well, obviously, not only in Paulding County, the state of Georgia, unemployment has not done that well. We doubled our population here until the last 6-7 years. Part of the issue is we have a lower tax base now. It's hard to get this $4 million. One of the things I would suggest is if we're going to draw more businesses here, we need to bring in better roads. Better roads are bringing better businesses. We're going to have more people come to these subdivisions, and there'll be a higher tax base. Thank you.
Person, after you have 1 minute, if you want to provide a comment.
I'd like to make a comment. I want to tell our county transportation folks they've done a good job with the funds that they've been able to use. We put in the East Iron Parkway, they did that. We've opened the interchange of the Seven Hills Boulevard out to 92. When we do our transportation with our own folks, with our own money, we can get things done. When you have to wait on the state or the federal government to get involved, we know what happened with that lame, Illinois bad or something that showed a few years ago. I told some folks one time, we cooked about it just like chicken. It was, I don't know why we had an Illinois bad running around here we were worried about. But anyway, that held us up for a long time. We're trying to get the 92 project. We've been working on that project for 35 years, I think, in the state. But our folks take the tip dollars, they take the dollars that the state sends in, they match it with county funds, and they're able to build roads, and they're able to get work done out here on a timely basis. Our county folks can get it done while we're waiting on the state and federal government.
Thank you. Mr. Collett. And of course, my first question to you, in case you didn't know, was, are you ever Paulding Chamber of Commerce?
No, not with a 3 hours drive there back to Alpharetta, working Alpharetta 20 years. If I work in Paulding, I will be.
Okay. Here's your question. Gun legislation is always a major issue in the legislature. Do you see any difference in the ability to regulate guns in public places versus on private property? In other words, where does someone's right to bear arms infringe on someone else's right to control their property or business? You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. Interesting, I am a big proponent of the Second Amendment. My father's a lifetime member of the NRA. He's actually on 100 safety courses for the last 40 years. He owns 60 guns. So I was brought up more than raised. In fact, my uncle was the president of Winchester Firearms for several years back in the late 70s. One of my issues with a lot of the legislation and the regulations seen with gun control now is the Second Amendment did not say the right to keep and bear arms as long as it's certified, as long as it's regulated. No, it said the right to keep and bear arms. We just passed the recent, basically carry all law yesterday, Governor Beal signed. I think it's a fantastic idea. Why? 2 things. Number 1, I don't see individuals who are law-abiding citizens carrying guns actually shooting other people. In fact, if I go to the airport and I see military people, I see policemen, I feel safe. I feel comfortable seeing these people with guns. I'm not breaking any laws. So why should I be concerned? Second, criminals do not obey gun-free zones. And what we're asking here for protecting private property, well, this is a gun-free zone. No, everyone has the right to keep their arms. The exclusion that would be convicted felons, and I think that is a legitimate, fair law. Other than that, anyone should have the ability to honor their Second Amendment rights. It was put in there so the government could not take those guns away, not under specific regulations. That's all I'm saying. Thank you.
Mr. Maxwell, you have 1 minute.
Did you read the question again? Make sure I try to answer the question.
Sure, glad to. Gun legislation is always a major issue in the legislature. Do you see any difference in the ability to regulate guns in public places versus on private property? In other words, where does someone's right to bear arms infringe on someone else's right to control their property or business?
Okay. Yeah, the 12 years I've been in the legislature, I've had the opportunity to vote multiple times on second member legislation. I just get emails all the time. People say, please vote for this gun bill, vote for this gun bill. Don't, vote for gun control. I tell us, you take my voting record, I've never voted for gun control. I'm prior military, I've got a basement full of weapons. I'm probably down to about 25,000 rounds now. I guess I need to stock up on that. But to answer your question, if I've got a piece of property, if I own a business, and I tell my employees or my people, we really don't want weapons in here, that's my personal property. That's my right to tell my employees whatever, what I want them to do, or people come on my property. Now, we just opened up the gun bill we passed this year in certain public places. Churches are going to make a decision. They can decide each congregation if they want to allow weapons in or out. Schools can make a determination if they want people.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Bond, you have 1 minute if you want to make another comment.
No, I can't disagree with anything he said. In fact, what Representative Maxwell said is very true. It's his personal right, if he wants his people on his property, to decide that. Some of you may think, well, property is not important to life. How many of you have a mortgage? You don't have to answer right now. I'm just trying to put out there. You get up at 5 in the morning, you get home at 7 at night to take care of your family. That's why you have a home. That's why you have a decent car. That's why you are there going to work today. And that's why you have a gun, to protect yourself, because that livelihood is important to each and every one of you. That's why we all work. We work for our family. We work for our future. That's why guns there. No, we shouldn't, we'll start shooting, ask questions later, but to have that preventative measure in the first place, that's what gun right is all about. That's why it shouldn't matter if it's in a private place or a public place. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, as I mentioned earlier, we flip in terms of the closing from the opening remarks. So, Mr. Bond, you will be making the first closing statement, and you have 1 minute.
Thank you. I can tell you more about myself, that would be that. What I would say is, as a state representative, I truly believe in meeting certain people, as Teddy Roosevelt said. Why is that important? You need to be informed what's going on every day, every week, every month. I've already had about 200 people call me or email me since I started running, and you can ask any one of them. I respond probably within 2 hours. That's when I rate people call me on my phone, but some things I support and don't support. I call it that. I be polite. I have email, and one of the things I propose, as a state representative, I'll have monthly town hall meetings. I'll have a monthly newsletter as well, which I will mail to you out on the funds, or, if necessary, email to you, since that is easier. As through the people, I want to know what all of you want. If that means, even against what I personally believe, I will support 50% plus what one person wants in my district. Thank you.
Mr. Maxwell, you have 1 minute.
It's been a pleasure for me to serve the people of Paulding County and the citizens here for the last 12 years as a representative. I hope I've done you a good job. I ask you for your vote, your support, and send it back down for another 2 years. It's not an easy task now. We're sitting down to make our decisions. Sometimes I have to make decisions that don't please some of the folks. But every time we push that button, there's only 2 choices. You got a red and a green button. We don't have a baby or a gray in between. We got to vote. Every time we vote yes, somebody else is going to be bad. Vote no, somebody else is going to be bad. I think I've done you well. I would ask you for your support. I love Paulding County. My life's been here. My granddaddy spent his life here at the turn of the century. I want to see Paulding County progress. I want to see us go forward. And I want to be a part of it. And I want to be a part of it with you and the folks of Paulding County. I appreciate your support. May the 20th, and early voting starts next Monday, by the way. You can vote for me earlier. Thank you.
Let's give both these gentlemen a round of applause. Thank you. Now could the candidates for the Paulding County Board of Commissioners Post 2 please come to the stage? Our two candidates are Mr. Pat Hughes and Mrs. Patti Smith. Miss Pat Smith, Patti Smith. And again, as before, I drew the names outside, and Mr. Hughes will go first. Again, you have 2 minutes for a opening statements.
Okay, you want to ask me about that?
I'll do that when we get to the question.
Okay, that's fine.
Or you can cover it if you want to.
No, that's fine. Yeah, I think I even mentioned it. My name is George Patton Hughes. I'm running for post 2. I'm a Democrat. I've got a college degree, poli-sci, history, political science, Hembree College, Conway, Arkansas. I've got Oklahoma State University. I was got some graduate credit in journalism. Worked for large and small media companies. I've started several companies, including Bond.Georgia. My first job was clipping newspapers in the back office of J. William Fulbright in Washington, D.C. We're running as Democrats, which is kind of unique in Paulding County, I'm sure. I was also press secretary, campaign press secretary for Tommy Robinson, who was a Democrat that ran and turned Republican from Arkansas. I've attended probably over 1,000 public meetings in Paulding County in the past 25, 26 years, whatever it is I've been here. I've been the writer and editor of the Paulding Neighbor, and I've been in meetings, administrations from Johnny Helms to David Austin. I'm currently on the board of directors of the Paulding County Business Association. I'm a member of the Chamber of Commerce. I'm a graduate of Leadership Paulding 3. I won national recognition from Paulding.com from 21st Century News Challenge winner from Knight Foundation. I'm married. I've got a wife, Nancy Hughes. We've been married almost 27 years. She's a nurse at Wellstar. I've also got a daughter who works at Wellstar, and I've got a very special son, who I'm proud to say is a very happy boy. A lot happier than his dad right now. Finally, my intent in running is to institute specific procedural reforms that will vastly improve the transparency of Paulding County's government operations.
Thank you. Ms. Smith, you have 2 minutes for opening remarks.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Patti Smith, and I was born on Peachtree Street on a hot summer day, but I came here when I was about 18, grew up in Decatur, but Mom and Dad were married here in Paulding County. They were on their way to a big adventure in Chicago. They lived up in Rome, and they took a ride with some friends to Atlanta to the bus station, and they stopped in Dallas and got married. And for all of my life, they talked about their dreams of coming back to Paulding County and buying a house and some land and growing their own food. They were both country boys and girls, and so they did, and they have beautiful 8 acres in the Paulding Forest. Honestly, the first time my parents brought me here, I thought surely they must be insane. I was in the back of the car wondering if a 16-year-old girl could have her parents committed, because here they were taking me down a road that literally was 1 lane wide. And I was a city girl, but I did come to love it here. My parents loved living here. And it really was a beautiful place to live for them to spend the last years of their lives. As for me, I majored in journalism. I went to Carrollton for a while and majored in journalism at Georgia State. I lived in South Florida for many years. I had worked a little bit in corporate America, but honestly, I was too much of a boat rocker for them. So I've been mostly an entrepreneur. I was a publisher of news magazines in South Florida. And I'm writing a couple of different things now, working on a book about women and a role they played in World War II. And I thought I would have had my Healing Thyself from Autoimmune Disease blog up and running by now, but last October I learned some unhappy news that changed my course and brought me up here. I never thought I'd sink so low as to be a politician, but thank you for inviting me here tonight.
Interesting note to end on. All right, our first question will be drawn by Mr. Hughes. And again, you'll have 2 minutes to answer and 1 minute back and forth. Since you've already answered the question, you are a member of the Paulding Chamber, I will ask you.
Yes.
First question, do you support improvements at Silver Comet Field? If so, what will you do to help the airport? If not, what do you think needs to be done with the airport? You have 2 minutes.
Okay, well, great. Yes, I support improvements at Silver Comet Field. I've been involved with, I've been talking about this on Paulding.com since it came public. Silver Comet Field is, I look at it this way. What does Paulding have? You look at the tax digest, we've got about 15, 17% that's business. We got 85% that's residential property. We got 155,000 people. We got not really a whole lot of businesses. We got businesses are what are required for a general aviation airport. What we've got is a bunch of people. That's an asset. I looked around all places like Texas. I come from Arkansas. I went to looked at Arkansas's the airports in Arkansas. There's one in Texarkana, Arkansas, Texas. The MSA has got 149,500 people. You know, they have 40,000 embarkations from that airport every year. I mean, we can do that type of stuff here. That's what we can do with our airport. We've got people. I was amazed when people were complaining about the airport in the first place in 2004, 2005, because, geez, my daddy grew up in Joe Carr, Arkansas, which is a lot smaller than Paulding County, and he learned how to fly in 1937. You know, airplanes are part of what, or I think we've got. Yeah, I'm a supporter of Silver Comet Field. I think that we need to maintain the contract. We need to fulfill the contract that we've signed with Propeller Industries, Propeller Terminal Partners, and we need to just do it.
Thank you. Ms. Smith, you have 1 minute.
Thank you. Well, I am not a supporter of Silver Comet Field. I do not think we ought to just do it. I think there's a lot of people who have been damaged by this airport. People voted twice to say they did not want this airport built, but by hook and by crook, some of our political leaders found a way to slide this airport in under the radar. And those of us who live at the ends of the runway, as I do, of course, my parents built their house first, but I do not believe that we should continue to damage the people of Post 2. Blake Swafford and the airport boys always make it sound like there's only a few of us disgruntled people. Well, there's more than a few disgruntled people. And if we let crazy economic development schemes harm the people of this county, then who would ever want to live here? I think we need to protect ourselves from schemes.
Thank you. Mr. Hughes, you have 1 minute.
Okay, yeah, I understand that you don't like contracts, and you like to break the contract that's there. I also would note that probably they were very upset when they built 278 in the first place. I mean, there were people that complained about four-laning that highway through those beautiful hills. We don't, I understand, you don't want progress, I think we need it.
Okay. Ms. Smith, you get to ask the next question.
I've got to go get my horse and buggy.
Yes, ma'am, I think it would be appropriate.
Ms. Smith, I'll ask you, as I've asked everybody else, are you a member of the Paulding Chamber of Commerce?
No, I am not and would not be because of their stance on this airport and their myth versus fact sheet.
Thank you. Your question, and you have 2 minutes to answer this.
Thank you.
As housing values begin to rise following the recession, the average tax bill will also increase if the millage rate is not adjusted. How will you balance changes in the millage rate to ensure the county is collecting enough revenue to operate the government without overtaxing its citizens? And you have 2 minutes.
Well, the first thing I would stop doing is pumping money into reckless economic development schemes like movie studios down by the septic recycling center. Smelly movie studios are not a real bonus for people. I think that we need to think about what money we're spending before we start spending it like drunken sailors in a house of ill repute. And that's what it seems to me very often happens in this county. People just start spending money like they had some, like it was their money. We need to rein in crazy economic schemes and admit that government does not create jobs. Businesses create jobs. Businesses come to a community when they feel that they'll be treated fairly down at the permitting office, when they feel like they won't be gouged by tax dollars to build an airport that nobody wants, or this park out in front of the governmental center that honestly I see it's mostly vacant. I don't understand why we keep spending these tax dollars. I think it's because the Board of Commissioners, it's not their money they're spending, it's ours. And so they just spend it freely without caring about the harm they do to the taxpayers with our own tax money. I'm not against progress. I'm for progress. I would love to have a little more retail outlets out near me, but nobody's going to want to live out in this area if it is got 737 zipping overhead every few minutes. You have to think about the people that are already here. They came here to get away from the miseries that Atlanta has to offer, and this airport is just driving them home.
Mr. Hughes, you have 1 minute if you'd like to rebut.
Oh, yes, I believe I would. People want to live where the jobs are. They will go to where jobs are. Yes, ma'am, they do, and they will, especially as we go into the future with the increasing cost of energy and the cost of transportation and getting to and from, they're going to especially live close to where their jobs are. I will point out that the original question had to do with the tax rate, and this was, I can't remember the exact name, but it was Roy Barnes and had a element. And I just want to point out that Roy Barnes is Democrat. He's the one that had the rollback tax stuff that passed in 2001 or 2000. And I think Democrats ought to take a little credit for that.
Okay. And Ms. Hughes, if you, excuse me, Ms. Smith, if you would like to get one more minute. Excuse me. No,
Don't call me that. Watch out.
Me? I don't know whose voice over
This is all being videotaped, we can block that out.
That was the funniest moment.
Oh, we did.
That's right.
You have
No offense.
Thank you. Okay, so I have my.
You have your minute.
My minute. Well, it's hard to top that, and now that we've all had a good laugh, I think that really there's nothing else to be said about the airport. Because if we continue on with this development of this 737 and this 139 certificate, this area is going to be destroyed. And if you don't care about the people of West.Paulding, then keep it up.
Is that,
I'm done. I have nothing else to say about the airport.
just, you
I
have
have
a minute, I
written so
want to make sure
many words
you want to use
about
all of it, but you have the opportunity. Again, because we reversed the order on closing statements, or the opening statements, Ms. Smith, you will have the first closing statement, and you have 1 minute.
Well, I am a Democrat, and in the 19th most conservative county in the United States of America, honestly, I don't expect to win this race. I'm in this race because the people of West.Paulding need somebody to stand up for them. And though Todd Pownell is our representative, and he does a pretty good job of that, I wanted to stand up and raise some hell myself. Because nobody seems to care about the collateral damage that is done to the people at the ends of the runway. The commission chairman doesn't care. 80% of the commissioners don't care. And I want people to care. If you're going to damage our homes and our property values and ruin the quality of our life, then by God, I want to look you in the eye and make you say it to me. You've got to, if you want to hurt us, man up and do it eye to eye. And that's what I'm here here for is to stir things up and make people care about the damage they've done.
Thank you. Mr. Hughes. Yes.
Obviously, that was not necessarily the last word on the airport, but the airport is here, and it is a jewel of an asset. We've got to exploit it. It's got to be done. I'm sorry, I've already told you that I would be in favor of you getting fair market value for your home and whatever. And I understand that's the reason that you're up here. You're also up here because you don't want to have a choice in November between someone that is pro-airport and against the airport. The airport itself is, you want to be the candidate of the Democratic Party, and you would be if you win. I hope you don't, but that's aside. Oh well. I've been in Paulding County a long time. This is kind of fun. I'm not terribly good at public speaker, and I'm here for the airport, and I'm having fun. So.
Me too.
Thank you very much. Let's give both of these candidates.
Good luck. Really need it.
The next candidates who I ask to come to the podium are for the Paulding County Board of Commissioners, Post 3, Mr. Vernon Collett, Mr. Haynes, and Mr. Richard Mason. To let you know, that was the actual order that they ended up drawing their names out of the box outside. That would be the order that they will be asked to make correct answer questions in the rebuttal the same way. So, Mr. Collett, you will be the first person to make opening comments, and you have 2 minutes. Whenever you start, let's start.
Good evening. First, I'd like to thank the Chamber for sponsoring this event. And I am Vernon Collett, and I'm here tonight with my lovely wife, Debbie. We have 3 kids, Cameron, Amanda, and Ashley. And you know, I'm running for this position because I feel convicted to do so. I feel this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm not running for any one single issue, or because one individual came to me, or because a group of individuals came to me. I'm running because deep in my heart, I feel like I'm supposed to run for this position. I can't tell you what I would accomplish if I win as commissioner, but I can tell you what I hope to accomplish by telling you the story of John Paulding. John was a militiaman in the American Revolution, and Paulding County was named after him. And he was the most important person in foiling the plan of Benedict Arnold to surrender Fort. Oh, I forgot. To surrender West Point, okay? And they even offered him the equivalent of $5,000 to do so. But he refused to take that money. He did not accept that bribe. And he went on to become the very first American to win an award or a medal from the United States. The very first. And he was a man of honor, a man of integrity, a man of courage. And my biggest accomplishment in office would be for the people of Paulding County to say the same thing to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Haynes, you were second.
Okay. Well, certainly I'd like to thank the Chamber for hosting this event tonight. I'd like to thank Mr. Lawler for moderating, and I'd like to thank you for coming out to learn more about candidates and what they're all about. And just want you to learn a little bit more about me. I'm a native of Georgia. I was born right here in Atlanta. I've been in Paulding County for 20 plus years. I have a beautiful, loving wife of 35 years, 2 wonderful children, along with 8 grandkids. I was going to get them to put the picture up on the big screen, but we can't do that, so you're going to have to stick around after this so I can show you. I'm ready for that, okay? Most of my career has been in the technology field, okay? I've also been a small business owner. I've worked with large banking organizations, software firms, and I've worked on multi-million-dollar projects. So I have a lot of experience to offer. I've also currently work as a Best Buy for Business representative here in Hiram, Georgia, so I represent the businesses here for them, as well as a real estate agent that I've been for 6 years now with Maxwell Realty. We currently serve, me and my wife serve at West Ridge Church. We've been there pretty much at the beginning of the time, and also have served in other roles. I served as the HOA president for our subdivision. I've served on the Paulding Family Alliance. I've served with the Big Brother program. I've served with the mentor program here in the Paulding County school system. And I've also served on the Paulding County Economic Development Board. But with that said, I just wanted to let you know, I feel like I'm the best candidate for this position, and I'm here to ask for your vote tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Haynes, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Richard Manis. I'm been here for 13 years. I grew up in the South Cobb County area. I graduated from South Cobb High School. I attended Kennesaw State University. I'm a member of our Dugan.Georgia Baptist Church, where I'm a deacon and a Sunday school teacher. I've been married to my wife, Diane, this year. I've been married 41 years to her. We've got 4 children and 7 grandchildren. And 4 of those grandchildren live here in Paulding County. I'm a past member of the school board here. I had to resign that position to run for this. And I do so because I feel the need for good, strong leadership here. I've been in the business for over 40 years as a business development manager. I have held positions nationally and regionally for some large corporations where I would go in and help those companies to grow their business. That's what I'm good at. That's what I know how to do. So I think what I bring to the table here is the business savvy that we need to get things done. We've already had some great leadership here. And we've got great people doing great things in this county. I want to see us come together as a group of people. I don't like seeing lawsuits against folks. I think we need to sit down, we need to talk about what our problems are. Let's work these things out. Let's go forward in Paulding County in a positive way so that businesses see us as a community that they want to go to work. They want to bring jobs here. That's what we need. That's what I'll do as your commissioner. I'll do whatever it takes to help you as a resident to have a quality of life that you and your family deserve. Thank you.
Mr. Collett, you will draw the first question. Of course, my first question is are you a member of the Paulding Chamber of Commerce?
I am through the Republican Party, yes.
First question. The existing SPLOST is currently set to expire in 2016. What changes would you recommend to the current distribution between the Department of Transportation, Parks and Recreation, Public Safety, and Economic Development fiber? You have 2 minutes.
Okay, I say no to Common Core and yes to Christmas. Oh, wait, wrong answer, let me start. I do support that SPLOST. As far as how it's going to be divvied up, I'm not really sure. I don't know exactly how it is now. I'm not sure what it is. I do think we get in there and we look at it though, and make sure that it is right, and some adjustments probably need to be made, and we would look at them and we'd make those adjustments.
All right, Mr. Haynes, you have 1 minute. Be glad to. The existing SPLOST is currently set to expire in 2016. What changes would you recommend to the current distribution between the Department of Transportation, Parks and Recreation, Public Safety, and Economic Development fiber?
Okay. Thank you. I do support the SPLOST fund, and I would, all those areas are important, but I'd probably put more emphasis on the Department of Transportation and our public safety network. They'd probably be the big 2, and then, I'd probably put more of a share toward probably those 2, and a little less toward maybe the Parks and Recreation. I think we've done a great job there, and I'm proud of what's there, but I'd like to split out a little higher, pieces to those other areas.
Thank you. Mr. Manis, would you like me to read the question again? Or?
No, I got it. Certainly I support the SPLOST program. From our school system to the county government, we really need to have those extra dollars come in. We have some roads and some bridges in this county that need to be replaced. We've got some bridges here that are severely overdue to be reworked. The guys at the DOT do a great job with what the money they have to work with. But we certainly need to, with another additional 50,000 people that'll be moving in here in the next 10 years, we've got to make sure that those dollars are spent wisely. They've done a great job with recreation in other areas, and I know that the monies are going to continue to be spent there, but our focus truly has to be on the conditions of our road and the safety of those people that are out driving every day.
Okay. Mr. Collett, you have one more minute if you want to make any comment or response there.
Yeah, sure, I just would go ahead and say, I'm not on the inside right now, I don't have all those figures, I don't know how the money's split up. It's something that does need to be looked at. I'm sure you should be looking at that every time it comes up. It's not something you're going to leave set. There's going to be areas in the county that we do need more help than others. So definitely, we would sit down and look at it and make sure that the money is going to, being allocated to the proper place.
Thank you. Mr. Haynes, you get to pick the next question. Mr. Haynes, I will also ask you to remember the Paulding Chamber of Commerce.
We're a member through the Paulding Board of Realtors, which I'm part of.
Okay. Here's your question. The Richland Creek Reservoir is on the verge of being permitted after over a decade. Once the county receives its permit to start construction, how will you ensure the project stays on schedule and on budget? You have 2 minutes.
That's an excellent question. I know a lot of funds have already been secured for that project. I know they're currently working on some other funds for that. What I would do is, not kind of like Vernon, I've not been in this position before, but what I do is I seek out the county and the state and the federal levels and try to identify the funds that we can secure for that project to keep it on time and on schedule. So, and I think there's other things we can do. There's a lot of ways to research that, talk to people in other counties, talk to people in other states that have already been down that road. We can use, it's been done before, so I'd use those type of resources to identify what we can do to get the funds and keep it on schedule.
All right. Mr. Manis, you have 1 minute.
Well, we've got very good people in the county. We've got the leadership there, the department heads there. Again, with the dollars that they get, the way they're able to spend it, the way we're able to do things within this county without having to have the government's help outside, I think our guys do and ladies do a great job. So I feel very secure about where we're going with where the reservoir, what's going to happen there. I feel very secure with the leadership we've had in this county, we'll continue to have in this county, to make sure that it's the right thing to do, the right way to do it, to spend your dollars in a very effective manner. And so I have no problems whatsoever with the folks we have currently making decisions.
Mr. Collett, you have 1 minute.
Question.
Be glad. The Richland Creek Reservoir is on the verge of being permitted after over a decade. Once the county receives its permit to start construction, how will you ensure the project stays on schedule and on budget?
Man, this is a pet peeve of mine. I'm excited about that. I wanted pennies yesterday. It's been 15 years and we don't have a reservoir, and I don't understand why. Once I get in office, I promise you, that's something I'm going to push. I will do whatever it takes to get that finished. I talked about it 4 years ago. I was told by a certain somebody, I won't mention who, that I wouldn't live to see it. Well, I tell you what, you get me in office and I'll prove that person wrong. Thank you.
Okay, and you have 1 minute for rebuttal or closing comment on that question.
Like I said, I absolutely support it. I think it's important to this county to have a reservoir. I think it's important to be able to attract jobs, which is probably number one thing we need for this county. Without that resource in place, we can attract other manufacturers and having that resource in place. So I'll do everything within my power. If I get into this post, I'll do everything within my power to make sure it comes to fruition. Thank you.
All right, and the final question, Mr. Manis, if you come up here and draw it. And again, my first question, usually you a member of the Paulding Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, sir. I'm a small business owner. I'm a proud member of the chamber. I thank Carolyn and her staff do an excellent job here in this county.
All right. Your question is, how How would you balance the privacy that has to be maintained regarding economic development projects with transparency in government? And you have 2 minutes.
Well, I think transparency in government is pretty easy. I mean, you've got to just open your door, allow people to come and take a look. I don't know that I've had any problems with, since I've lived here with the current administration, with transparency. I mean, there's a lot of talk about it, but I think if you are aware of when the meetings are, you show up, you've got an itinerary, you know what the questions are, you have an opportunity to go and voice your opinion. I think they've been very transparent. I know that there's there's been a lot of questions about certain things, but a lot of times I think it's just been on the receiving end. If you know it's going to be there, you know the time, you know the date, you've got it. I've seen very little problem with that. But moving forward, I'd like to see some changes, a few changes made to make sure the programs are stated maybe an extra day or 2 early, for people have a little more time to think about it, digest what's going on. You show up, ask questions. Maybe some of the meeting could be changed and revamped a little bit to help those that are there. Again, it's a matter of listening to what you want, not what the commissioners want from you, but to listen to what you have to say and then act on what. We're here for you. We work for you. I would work for you. So that's what it's about. Listening, having a clear understanding of what you want, and then provide that for you. That's all. It's not that difficult.
Thank you, Mr. Collett. You have 1 minute.
Could you read the question?
Be glad to. How would you balance the privacy that has to be maintained regarding economic development projects with transparency in government?
Okay. I understand there's some things you do have to keep quiet, but sometimes there's things you don't keep quiet. When it affects so many people's lives, and some of them negatively, some positively, that's something that the people have a right to be part of and to understand. You must let the people speak. You must let them know what's going on. You can't just go out and turn someone's life upside down and say, hey, sorry, this is what's best for the county. That's not what this country was about, and that's not what I'm about.
Okay, Mr. Haynes, you have 1 minute if you'd like to make a comment.
I think it's important to be open and transparent. I would certainly promote and work to enhance the communications. I think that's the biggest thing. I don't think there's a lot of hidden secrets out there if you get involved in the county, but I certainly try to do all I can to increase the communications and make sure people are aware of things. The thing with the economic development, though, is there are companies that will go out there that want to do business in your county, but they don't want to come in this county until they get ready for you to know about them coming in the county. So you've got a fine balance there to try to be open and transparent, but you also got to, if you're going to attract business, you got to be aware of that as well.
Mr. Nance, you have 1 minute if you wish to respond.
Well, you're right. Businesses, a lot of time, I work in the office furniture industry, and I know that a lot of times when a new facility is being built, the architects just don't want everybody to know what's going on. There's a lot of hidden things about that. There's a certain amount of privacy that has to go on. But working for the people, we need to let you know as soon as we can what's taking place, and make sure you have a clear understanding of what's taking place. It's your tax dollars. It's your tax dollars. So we need to make sure that we are transparent. And again, I just think the biggest thing that we've had right now that's a deterrent is we've got too much fighting going on amongst ourselves. If I was a business in Atlanta and wanted to move here, I would want to make sure that my employees was in an environment, a great place to work, great place to live, which we are. But with this bickering we've got about certain things around this county, it needs to stop. We need to pull together our resources, support our county commissioners, and appreciate them for the job that they do. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, we'll ask each of the candidates to make a 1 minute closing statement, and we will start with Mr. Manos. 1 minute.
Well, again, what I try to bring to the table here for you guys is the voice of reason. I did that on the school board. I've done that in every business I've ever been involved with, is the voice of reason. That means that you listen, you get a clear understanding of what the people want, and you act accordingly. That doesn't mean like Howard said up here, when you're mashing a button that says yes or no, you're always going to have someone that doesn't like your answer. That's a tough job. It's a tough job. We've got 20,000 registered voters in our post. We've got 3 people standing here that want the job. What does it say? Out of 20,000 registered voters, only 3 people raised their hand and said, I'll take that job. So I applaud these guys for doing that. And I applaud the men and women that we have in this county that come to work every day and do a great job. But I would appreciate your vote. No one will work harder for the people in Paulding County than I will, and I can assure you of that. Thank you very much.
Mr. Haynes, you have 1 minute.
Well, once again, I thank you for coming out and learning about the issues of this race. I guess, what is it all about? In talking to people, it's about jobs. It's about economic prosperity. It's about bringing jobs to this county. And I'm not talking about just jobs. I'm talking about quality jobs. And those just don't happen. You've got to have a plan to do that. And you've got to work that plan. One of the things I'd work to do is to look extending the fiber optics throughout this county so we can actually attract technology companies. So where it makes sense, attract, extend that fiber for our school system as well, for better education and access to that. Look at the sewer lines, look at the water sources, look at the traffic flow and see what we can do about that, and anything we can do to improve the educational system. I want to enhance communications and promote that, and when you listen, I'll talk, and I promise you, I'll take a stance on the issues that matter to you as a voter. And I appreciate it, and I ask for your vote.
Thank you. Mr. Collett, you have 1 minute.
Thank you. You know, I love Paulding County, and I think Paulding County has a lot to offer. But Paulding County has some serious problems, and probably no problem more serious right now than the fact that there are a lot of people that have lost faith in their government. And you can do what you want to, but when the people lose faith, that's bad. And because of that, I'd like to ask you the following question, or make the following statement. As citizens, you must stay engaged because that holds us accountable. As citizens, you must ask questions because that keeps us honest. As citizens, please pray for us because that keeps us humble. And as commissioners, we should cultivate an environment that encourages citizens to stay involved. As commissioners, we must constantly strive to set the bar higher and do better and better. As commissioners, we must remember that we serve the citizens who are above us and not below us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Collett. Let's give these gentlemen a round of applause. We have invited the candidates for Commission Post 4, and I believe that Commissioner Barnett is here. Is he here? I can't see him. Great. I want to come forward. We invited Mr. Crow, and but we did not get any response from him, so he is not here today. So as we've done in the past, I kind of leave it up to the candidate if they would like to make some comments or answer questions. We'd be glad to do that. I'll keep it to the time limits, obviously,
Okay.
but if you would like, if you want to make some comments, please go ahead. I'm going to do 2 minutes.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm David Barnett. I'm currently your Post 4 Commissioner for Paulding County. First, I'd like to tell the Chamber of Commerce thank you for the time for hosting this, and Chad for operating this tonight. A little bit about myself. I've been here 50 years. My family's been here since 1832 for 6 generations. Eddie, my wife, I've been married to for 25 years, my anchor. With me, we have 20 boys. There are 11. Parker and Harrison that are at baseball tonight. So I'm proud to say that I'm from here. And we actually have 2 businesses here in the county that we've had for 23 years. And just people would never do anything to hurt this county. That's one thing. But we've done some great things in the county. We've accomplished some great things while I've been in office. And we have a lot more great things to accomplish ahead of us. As far as the reservoir, we're closer than we've ever been in a decade. And the reservoir is just so important that we must keep pushing to do this, because what it can bring with the businesses that when we have our water, the infrastructure that we can accomplish, and just our plain growth. And also, But like I said, on May 20th, we'll be voting. I ask for your vote. Early voting starts this Monday, and I ask for your vote then. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, we have some questions. You can either take them or not, or leave that totally up to you.
No, take one.
Thank you. Paulding County is often referred to as a bedroom community because over 70% of its residents travel outside the county for employment. Is this a trend that you feel should be reversed through expanded economic development or left as is? Please explain your position.
That's a great question. We've been known for as a bedroom community, forever, it seems like. But to sustain our roads, our schools, our core systems, our public safety, we have to bring in businesses with industrial growth to help offset our taxes in our county. Because with businesses and industrial growth, those services are not required in our schools. They do not impact our schools, our public safety as much. So that the tax base that they bring to us is larger than a residential home. And we can take that burden off of the residential citizens of the county with the growth of small business and industrial growth.
I forgot to ask you, are you a member of the Paulding?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you want to take the last question?
Sure.
Very man. All right, last, final question. As the housing market continues to improve in the metro area, what changes, if any, would you make to the county's existing zoning ordinance?
Wow, okay, let's, 2006, let's look at, we go back, where we're doing, 2007, we're doing 3,500 permits a year. That's amazing times for a lot of us in the county, that when it stopped, it made a huge impact on us. Because a lot of people depended on the housing industry. But as we go forward with the planned residential developments with the PRDs, I feel we need to control that more. The biggest thing with PRDs were more, we had so much growth at one time trying to control our infrastructures. But I feel we can control that growth and put more, look at it for us this, that when we approve the development, let's see what it's going to cost our county services. What are we going to bring in taxes from that development? Is it going to, the taxes from it, then are they going to cover our services that we're having to put in, our infrastructures that we're going to have to supply to, is it going to cover it? So, and one biggest thing that we got to put on last time were streets, that we did not make the builders put the final coats on these streets. That's one thing I would do. As we go forward, if this is a new development, the builder will have to pay all the way, not just the base, but you have to put the base and the final coat on before we issue any permits to it. Thank you.
Great. Again, you have 2-minute closing statement if you would like to make one.
I love home county, I can say that. I've been here all my life, so my family's here, my kids are here. I want to bring growth here to the county for jobs where my boys can stay here, enjoy the same heritage that I've had. To say, I grew up here, I stayed here, where we can live, work, and play in the same community. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. It's good, Commissioner. Thank you. That concludes tonight's program. As I mentioned, it's being videotaped. It'll be shown, I think, later on, either this week or next week on cable TV, so you have an opportunity to look at that. Again, thank you all for coming out. We heard from the candidates that early voting starts next week, so please do that. But please remember also that May 20th is the election day. Again, thank you and have a good, safe evening.